Welcome back. Outspoken Kingdom Life Church pastor Cedric Moss has made no secret of how he feels about the non-profit organizations bill, charging that it has difficult and troubling provisions. You see, here's what he's most concerned about. Section 1 of the bill requires that all organizations register with the government in order to operate. This, he says, is a complete overreach.
If a group of individuals decide that they want to band together and start a church and propagate their religion, the Constitution says you can do that without hindrance. To require them to register with you, not even register, to apply to be approved to do that, seems to me to be going above the Constitution. Now, the other provisions in the bill, I think many of them are certainly constitutional.
Now, the Financial Action Task Force's 8th recommendation requests countries to review how suitable the laws are as it relates to NPOs. The country then would identify those organizations vulnerable to terrorist financing abuse.
I think the government, in my view, has gone beyond what they've been asked to do on two measures. One, they have taken a shotgun approach to all nonprofit organizations instead of saying, we are going to target these particular ones, and here are our reasons. Come to the churches and say to us, we believe you are vulnerable to terrorist financing abuse, and so we want to regulate you. No church, in my opinion, is.
Now, when you consider what it takes to fund terrorism and the financial circumstances of the country's churches, Pastor Moss says they can't buy bullets, much less bombs, adding that the government may not expect for a church to fund terrorist organizations, but he recommends this.
Slow down on this bill. Take more time to consult, to have an appreciation for the universe of nonprofits in the country. They are diverse and they have peculiarities about them that you need to recognize. And one of the things you will see as you read the legislation, as you look at the reporting requirements, you can see that the government is taking a one-size-fits-all approach to nonprofit organizations. Churches are very different. If the government chooses to address these concerns for the churches in separate legislation, that is a way to do it, but it doesn't have to be in order for the government to sensitize churches to the realities of money laundering and terrorist financing abuse, but they would have to make a lot of changes.
All in all, Pastor Moss says he's grateful there now seems to be wider consultation among nonprofit organizations, churches in particular. Well, Civil Society Bahamas on Saturday met with Attorney General Carl Bethel on the controversial nonprofit organizations bill, one of key 5 bills the government was hoping to have passed by the end of the year. You see, despite sailing through the lower chamber, the NPO was greeted with some pushback in the upper chamber, with senators ultimately agreeing to pull the bill. This in the face of claims that there was insufficient consultation on the issue. Now, the plans now to revise and rescale the bill to a more moderate regulation of the financial services sector. According to the CSB, the AG plans to further review the bill for opportunities to shrink damage to the capacity of this important sector. However, the AG has advised that wide-scale changes would require the bill to head back to the House of Assembly or otherwise significantly delay the objective of developing regulatory standards in the sector would not be considered. Dr. Anthony Hamilton, Vice President of Civil Society Bahamas, congratulated the Attorney General and the government for the good faith they've shown in the consultation process. The bill, which imposes a strict requirement on NPOs to maintain detailed financial statements to demonstrate that its funds have been applied in a manner consistent with its objectives, is now expected to be debated in the Senate January 2019. Health officials backing up the recall of Del Monte Fiesta corn, urging the public not to consume the product until the Bahamas Agricultural Health and Food Safety Authority has given the all-clear to do so. The product was pulled off the shelves due to factory underprocessing. Officials warn then that consuming it can lead to severe health risk, such as a foodborne illness called botulism. Symptoms include muscle weakness and paralysis, which can lead to blurred vision, double vision, droopy eyelids, trouble breathing and swallowing, and feelings of dry mouth. These symptoms can reportedly begin in as little as 6 hours or up to 10 days after consuming contaminated food and can be fatal if untreated. Officials strongly advise that should you experience any of these symptoms, seek immediate medical attention. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news was brought to you by Alive.